If you are into fragrances, you have any sort of vested interest in this hobby, you gotta know these 10. And not only should you just know about these and have a general idea of what they smell like, you would also probably benefit from owning the vast majority of the stuff here in this list. Because all of these exhibit a bunch of versatility and mass appeal and just general wearability for a whole bunch of different guys and girls out there. So no matter what you're into, you're going to find something here that you're going to like in this list. And I think you're going to be happy with a lot of the things in here. And again, if you are into this hobby, you got to know these because people talk about them all the time. But there's a reason why people talk about them all the time. It's because they really are fantastic scents that work in the real world. Pretty much all of us live in the real world. Sometimes you may want to branch out and go down the rabbit hole of super unique and challenging niche, and that is cool to enjoy for yourself. Might not work that great in the real world, but these do. Links will be down below to discounters so you can get these at prices below retail as always. We're just going to jump right into it, and I want to start off with Gentleman Eau de Parfum by Givenchy. So this one just finally came back into stock on discounters. 100 ml, 80 bucks. That may sound expensive, and it's on the upper end of things, but this retails for 110, and up until this point, you haven't been able to find this one for an actual discounted price, saving about 30 bucks or a little bit more plus tax. So really, you've got a good deal going here with this one. It's got vanilla, iris, black pepper. It's going to fit into something similar to Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense. This is going to be the most wearable and the most mass pleasing of both of those, and really most other fragrances in this category. And it makes it great for beginners. It makes it great for intermediate people in this hobby, and makes it great for people who have hundreds upon hundreds of bottles and they just want something easy to wear in the fall and winter time. This one works great. I've always had a special place in my heart for Gentleman Eau de Parfum. I just think this stuff is well-rounded in every single way. Next up, I want to go with Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. So this one has oud, it's got saffron, you've got some other woods in here like a nice cedar wood accord. This is classiness to the max, and I love it. This stuff smells great. You know, it's in a similar vein to something like Tom Ford Oud Wood, which of course has wood and oud. So both of those things there. This one also has woody notes and oud. So that's not all it takes to have something that smells similar, right? Note breakdown can be very vague, but scent-wise, this actually does have somewhat of a similar smell to the Tom Ford. It is going to be still more designer level, even though that one is technically a designer. It is private blend, it is expensive, but you know, this one's going to be probably easier to get along with overall. And if you're new to oud fragrances, this is a great place to start for a price that is much more approachable compared to something like that Tom Ford. And there are some other great oud fragrances out there that you can start out with, but I also think just this DNA in general is really hard to go wrong with. Whether you're newer to collecting or you've been around for a good while, most of us can appreciate Oud Noir. We'll knock this one out really quick. Next, we have Ralph's Club Parfum. So this one just came out within the past, month or so? Something like that. And I was super pumped up for it because I actually really like Ralph's Club EDP. And voice crack there, EDP, right? And they started out with an EDP. So yeah, you didn't miss anything. Ralph's Club, the original, is an EDP. There was no EDT that came before it. So they really dove right in, which was actually kind of an interesting approach by the brand because the brand has a ton of EDTs and they've built tons and tons of flankers from all of the polo lines and everything else. So kind of an interesting thought there. It has cardamom, clary sage, and cedarwood, along with a bunch of lavender. So the main difference here is that cardamom accord that you're getting in here that you don't get in the EDP. It warms it up a little bit, gives it a spiciness that the EDP doesn't really have. But this one also just has more texture and more depth compared to the EDP. And so for me, this is a no-brainer scent. It's one that I enjoy thoroughly. And I think if you are someone who is pretty well invested in this hobby and you're looking to expand your collection and you want to get into some stuff that'll work great in the fall but still has a ton of mass appeal and versatility, check out Ralph's Club Parfum. Not to say that the EDP won't work in this upcoming season shift here, because it will. but I think especially moving into the cooler seasons, this one will work a little bit better for you. I want to move the pacing on a little bit quicker here, so we'll start running through these. Mercedes-Benz Le Parfum. It's got oud, pink pepper, and amber. On discounters, you're looking at $35, $37, $40 range at mid-40s. Testers do not come with a cap, but you can also save a bit of money going that route. So depending on your budgeting here, and if you can, just have this look right here without this going on, might be an option for you. Another designer level oud scent. Now the oud here is not quite as prominent as in the Versace. This one's really all about that amber, that pink pepper, and just some other woods going on, and also some sweetness. It's got a lot more sweetness compared to the Versace, and also a strong violet leaf accord. So it's kind of an airy, ozonic, kind of textured blue smell, but I don't mean blue as in Ambroxan. But when you think of a violet leaf smell, to me, I just think of the color blue. It just has this ozonic, airy, kind of watery smell. You get a heavy dose of that in here. Kind of think of something a little bit similar to Fahrenheit by Dior, but with an oud twist slightly, some pink pepper. It's kind of the direction this one goes, and it smells fantastic, especially for the price. I mean, this one's borderline a cheapie, and it smells great, has great performance. Up next, we have another borderline cheapie, depending on if you get tester or whatever, Azzaro Chrome Extreme. Now, this one is significant because it smells very similar to Acqua di Gio Profondo. Similar colored bottle and everything here. I don't know if that was planned. What's interesting is this and Profondo both came out in the same year, 2020. So it's kind of one of those deals where it's like, all right, something going on behind the scenes here, or what? Did a mod get passed down to the other brand? I don't know for sure, but I do know this has a strong resemblance to Profondo here. C notes, orange, some cashmere going on. It has that somewhat mineral smell, the mineral notes, but nowhere near the level of Profondo. But it still does have the general idea, an aquatic with a bit of a texture and depth that you don't normally get. It's a bit untraditional compared to a lot of other aquatics out there, especially in this price range, talking about the chrome here. A lot of stuff in this price range is going to be very cookie cutter, and this one is not. It does have a different twist, and I really like it for that reason. We're going to knock out the one and only niche fragrance here in this video. I really wanted to feature this one and shed some light on it. From Amouage, it is Reflection 45, and this is an Extrait de Parfum with an incredibly high concentration. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but the information is out there. Basically, this stuff is heavy and rich and potent to the extreme. If Reflection Man, the original, the EDP for you, wasn't strong enough for you, look no further. Scoop this one up, and all of your issues there are going to be resolved. Now, I believe at retail, this goes somewhere in the ballpark of $400 or something ridiculous. Now, granted, in niche world, that's not terrible. Look at Roja and some Xerjoffs and everything else, right? But for Amouage, that's pretty steep, right? They've kind of been branching out. They've been doing flankers, and they've been bringing some extraits into the concentration, and there's been a couple flankers of like interlude and stuff, so they're really rolling with it here. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is you can get this one for about $284 at the link down below on discounters, which is still a heavy chunk of money, but it's better than $400. And this is simply Amouage Reflection Man, but stronger and richer. It's got iris, it's got some sandalwood, neroli, there's a bunch of myrrh, olibanum, a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, the note breakdown on this one is extensive, so I do encourage you to look into it. And while it is richer in scent character compared to the original, it still very much is Reflection Man, and it is nothing short of breathtaking. I love Reflection Man, the original, the EDP, but performance was one thing that I did wish would be a little bit better, and I don't have to wish for that anymore because we have it. If you are a Reflection Man fan and you want to take it to the next level, this is an absolute no-brainer. Scoop this one up while you can get it for that price. Now we're just going to swing right back to the other end here. On the cheaper side, we have Insurrection Pure 2 by Ray-Amp Traditions. Insurrection II Wild, I believe is what it is, something like that. Basically, this one has honey, it's got tobacco, And it smells similar to Mugler's Pure Havane, which is a honey tobacco scent. Discontinued, highly sought after, bottles on eBay, $200-300 plus, along with most Mugler fragrances, because now they're almost all discontinued except for a couple of them, which is really actually very sad. I mean, you talk about some amazing stuff in there on the designer side. They were crushing it, and it really is a shame to see those go. But you could still get the Pure Havane DNA here, and you can get it at a cheaper price than what Pure Havane was at when it was in production. So that's pretty cool. $30-40 for this 100 mil. Nice presentation. The bottle here is cool, but even the box it comes in is nice. It has a slide out, and it's just really, really nice. It kind of gives you a somewhat of a premium niche experience without spending that much money, which I think is pretty admirable. And again, the scent character is amazing. Dusty, creamy, sweet tonka bean with some honey sweetness, kind of a syrupiness, and then a nice smoky red pipe tobacco. This stuff smells amazing, and it dominates in the fall and winter. Next up, Ferragamo Uomo Signature. It's got tonka bean, coffee, and leather as some of the main notes. So similar in style to Ferragamo Uomo, the original. That one has tonka bean, sweet notes. Yeah, literally one of their notes is just a generalized sweet notes accord. Basically, to get it across to you in the most simple way possible, this DNA is focused around sweetness. So if you're not into that, then you're not going to be into any of these. Well, this or the original urban feel and what is it? Casual Life. Those two are freshies. But again, this and the original, very sweet fragrances. But what I like and what I prefer about Signature is the coffee and leather accords that are added into this DNA. The leather gives it a little bit more of a masculine feel, which the original does lack quite a bit. And then the coffee, kind of a roasted coffee bean, gives it a different approach as well. I love coffee fragrances. I love coffee in real life, the smell, the taste, everything about it. So when they can implement a little bit of a note into a great fragrance DNA, I'm all for it. That's what this one does. And if you have the option to pick up Ferragamo Uomo or Uomo Signature, I would get this one. Second to last, another one on the more affordable side here is Rochas L'Homme. This is going to be just the original. Aromatic touch is out and about, and you can get it already on discounters for like $40 or $30, and it's a brand new release. So I don't know how that happened so quickly, but it did. But I'm just talking the original. It's got blood orange, tonka bean, and juniper berries. Very aromatic. And if you smelled Dolce & Gabbana K, then you'll probably find that this smells similar, but this is better 10 times over. I do not really like Dolce & Gabbana K, both in the EDT and even the EDP configuration. I do prefer the EDP over the EDT, but I still don't really love it. And I really still don't get excited about it. I don't care for the DNA. The EDP is an improvement. I still don't like it. I can't get behind those. And I try, and I'm not being a hater. I'm fully able to say that I like something even if it's generic, and it's not even that it's super generic. I just don't, there's something about it I don't like. But Rochas L'Homme I love. There's more depth, there's more going on. It's a different approach on an aromatic kind of DNA that's a little bit more traditional in some ways, and I just love everything about this stuff, coupled with the fact that it's a $40 scent on most places. You cannot go wrong. This is a great signature scent. And last up, Pure XS Night by Paco Rabanne. Now, this one here has caramel and myrrh, ginger, and ginseng as some of the main notes. So I've talked about this one before quite a bit on the channel. It has a strong, spicy accord when you first spray it on. I'm making my scent of the night here. And this is something where when you spray it on skin and you smell it for the first time, the ginseng and ginger accords will attack your nose, and you've got to be prepared for it. People will smell this right off the first rip and scrub it off because they think it's just craziness, right? But I encourage you to please give it a chance. Get into that dry down. The caramel myrrh, kind of tonka bean starts to come through. It gets ultra smooth, ultra sexy, and ultra addictive in that dry down. And you're really missing out if you don't make it to that point. This stuff smells great. And this is the the kind of answered request to people who say that they want something different from a designer brand or just from a brand in general. Paco Rabanne, they're known for Invictus and 1 Million and all of that type of stuff that is now cookie cutter and basic and generic. But if you want something different from a designer brand, Pure XS is the way to go. You got to jump in on this one. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances. I almost said 10 designer, but there is one niche, but 10 fragrances that I think every guy should know. If you have any sort of interest in this hobby, you got to get in on these. This is some amazing stuff here. I will link these down below, best prices online, and community tab. Post over there every day, multiple times a day. Some of the best deals you're going to find on the internet when it comes to fragrances. It's every day, literally, multiple times a day. Get subscribed so you see those posts. Get subscribed so you see when I post cash giveaways over there, because I'm doing that every month going forward. Now I'm going to be giving away cash to one of you guys. And just get subscribed for videos every day. I appreciate your guys' support so much. It means the world to me. And we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.